Hey fellas, and welcome back to With a Y. Today I have a very somber story for you. Well, but multiple fables that tell the overarching tale of the plight of the goldfish. I asked Joel about this like about a month ago and kept forgetting to get around to it, but I'm finally here. The title's a little inflammatory, that goldfish die from literally anything, but that anything is actually one specific thing. It's generally people not knowing how to take care of them. This cannot entirely be put on all the owners of the goldfish because they're often children given them by their parents who don't know what they're doing either, but let's start here. For the goldfish thing, I was like 3 years old and I had won a goldfish from a fair. Many such cases, I had a lot of friends who got a pet goldfish this way. None of them lasted very long. I've never had a fish in my lifetime, so I can happily say that my fish kill count is at 0. I mean, like, I eat fish, but I didn't kill them, so it's like, it's not the same. But the ones you get from the fair, you usually bring home in a plastic baggie, which does not bode well for these fishies' living conditions if that's how they're treated in transit. Most people know that those type of goldfish die fast, but me being like 3, I did not think it would, and I told that to my parents. Seemingly, I was right, and the fish lived for like 5 to 6 years, and it died because we moved it to a different tank that I told my parents not to do. Damn, a responsible goldfish owner to start off? That's actually a better sign than I thought we were gonna get. The thing is, goldfish can live for like decades. If you've seen how big goldfish get in the wild, you'll know that the tiny guppies we know them as are not nearly their full potential. This is like one of the bigger ones I've ever seen, but apparently this happens a lot when they get into the water system. Like, goldfish are cute. I don't like how much definition his face has in this. All the other fish we got to go in the tank also died fast when they were in that tank. I was really torn up about the fish dying. Like, I would write tearful journal entries about it dying, and it was basically my first time really experiencing like an impactful death. And this is one thing I actually want to emphasize. I think if you're a parent and you get your kid a fish and that fish does die, I don't think you should lie to them about what happened. If you're gonna use a fish as a lesson on how to take care of something, that kid should also have to learn the lesson of grief that comes from losing something they care about, because unfortunately, in the same way that losing a family pet does, it can inoculate them to some even more tragic losses later down in life. Still, this person did learn that lesson, and it seemed like they really cared about that fish and really fought with their parents to get it better living conditions like public housing, only to have that moment completely shit on by this. I then found out like 4 years after that the fish that lived for so long was a replacement, and the first fish actually died a day after I got it. That is gut-wrenching, man. I don't mean to laugh and make fun of your grief, but oh my god, that had to have been a look on your face that you never made again. Or if you did, something much crazier happened because you were no longer 10 years old and it probably takes something greater to get more out of you. This one is a little more tragic because it comes down to a more systemic issue. It's not a goldfish, but one day my dad forgot to pay the power bill, so we didn't have power and it killed my fish. Some people are probably thinking, it's like, why did forgetting to pay the power kill your fish? Well, it could have been like a climate-controlled tank or even something as simple as the room temperature not being right made the water too hot. I don't fucking know. I'm gonna just take this person at their word because it was through no direct action of their own that their fish died, which cannot be said for most of the things we're gonna look at today. Here's just a kid being dumb. My goldfish died when I overfed it. I was like 4. How many goldfish do you think have died out there because they wanted to see if cannibalism was real and fed their goldfish the goldfish crackers? The crazy part was my dad told me my fish jumped out the window, and I believed him. My sister had a betta fish at the same time, and I asked why he didn't jump out the window, and my dad said it's because his fins were too soft to give him enough momentum. I was a very dumb kid. I mean, if you were like 4 and you knew what the word momentum was, you might have been like dumb in the awareness of the world kind of way, but you know, you had some book smarts going for you. Fish story. That is definitely a Shark Tale knockoff. When I was a kid, I had 3 goldfish, and one of them got swim bladder disease. They have a bladder for specifically swimming, or their bladder gets the disease beat from like swimming and something. What? Non-fish owner here. This is like the most I've ever learned about fish care in my life. The other 2 were perfectly healthy, so my mom bought some treatment and she followed the instructions and put it into the tank. Within a few hours, 2 of the 3 fish were dead. The last one just managed to survive because we quickly cleaned the tank and changed the water. They put chemicals in the water and it killed my fucking fish! Quite frankly, to me, that is crazy. Like, this could be genuinely somebody's radicalizing moment where they realized, oh my god, the chemicals in the water kill things. What does fluoride do to my teeth other than make them whiter? Okay, this one made me crack up so much because it has trigger warning, suicide, mutilation, drowning, and it's about a goldfish. I can understand like having this level of attachment to your fish. It's just those trigger warnings evoke much different imagery in my head than what's about to be described. For the fish stories, we had a big fish tank, and one was a red rainbow fish I called Lily. Very original. Oh yeah, you named the fish after something else that goes in water. I don't know why I'm judging that hard. I named my cat, and because her fur looked like cigarette ash, I am not original at all. It liked to tear up the fins of other fish in the tank, essentially killing them because it became harder for them to move around. You were raising a little war criminal. This dude liked to mutilate its enemies and then let them slowly bleed to death. My parents put the fish in jail, a smaller tank to isolate it, and the fish jumped out of the tank and suffocated. My mom found it one morning, stiff, dry, and covered in dust. Oh my god, it fell down, dude. There's your obligatory Deltarune mention for this video. The fish was actually a favorite of mine? Your favorite was the one that was just jumping and killing random innocent bystanders? Holy shit, Strawberry Lemon 69, I can tell you never let go of that stuff. That somewhere deep in your psyche is the consequences of you really, really liking that fish and what it did to others. This story is one in a long line of these where it makes me think, why the hell, if you have a fish tank or a bowl, does it have an open lid? Because the fish can jump out and just kill itself. Or dumbass kid, whether it's the owner or, you know, a visiting family friend's kid, could just do some shit that completely destroys the ecosystem. This one was like a pool, so it's a little harder to get around the fact that, yeah, the kid's gonna have access to this. When I was little, my family had this large pool of koi and other fish. This is part of why I understand why people who are rich enough to own koi ponds have people that they pay to specifically take care of it. Seems complicated and best to leave a professional to it so you don't really mess up that ecosystem. At some point, the pool was a little dirty, and I thought, being the pure soul I was, I wanted to clean it. I immediately don't trust you because you called yourself a pure soul. To the horror of my parents, they came home to hundreds of fish dead because I had poured an entire 2-liter worth of bleach into the pool because I thought it would clean the pool. Now every time this has been brought up near my friends, they would call me Fish Hitler. Jesus Christ, man. I mean, at least you got some grief for it, man. Think about all the poor innocent lives you completely stole. Like, surely your parents warned you against drinking bleach yourself, like that it would hurt your own insides. In bleach, when you spill it, doesn't stay like suspended in the air where you can accidentally breathe it in. What you did to those fish is the equivalent of like creating mustard gas in your house. My goldfish died because we were moving just like a few blocks down, so we kept the fish. But then when we got there and I got out of the car, I dropped the tank on the road and my dumb 5-year-old self just watched him flop around till he died. Jesus, man. You just sat there and watched it? Was it like morbid curiosity or were you like in shock? My thing is like, I don't have no idea if you were a bad fish owner during that kid's life. It sounds like it survived its tenure under your care until like you made a human mistake and tripped or some shit. That said, in my experience, fish tanks, especially with the water still in them, they are heavy as hell. Who was letting a 5-year-old try to carry that around on their own? Especially if it sounds like the fish was more of a family thing because you referred to it as we kept the fish. Whoever else was charged with fish care should take some responsibility in the matter here. I had a goldfish that exploded once. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really expect that one to come up, but I've seen whales explode on dry land, so I can't exactly write it off. My aunt said we fed him too much, and he popped. Dude, imagine if that's what happened anytime like a human overate, like you get really bloated, look in the mirror, and you're like, that's it, I'm only eating salad for the rest of my life, and you get McDonald's the next day. Imagine if you just popped, like immediately. Like, we didn't get fat, we just exploded. Put the gas in gastro. Gas as inflammable liquids for the goldfish pond. I used to own a large tank with about 10 to 20 small goldfish. I was about 5 and we had went out fishing and we had caught a small catfish that I named Mr. Catfish. Very creative, good work. And in my small 5-year-old brain, I decided to put it in my goldfish tank. But I'm sorry, but like, did your parents or whatever like adult authority figure you went with not only let you keep the catfish instead of putting it back like a real fisher, but they let you take it back home in a carrying method that would have kept it alive for long enough, like in water or something? And they didn't at all question what you were about to do with that catfish when you got home? Yeah, you decided to put it in your goldfish tank. Safe to say they were gone the next day. Mr. Catfish got dinner and I was left with a fat catfish that later got stuck in a castle decoration and we had to break it open. R.I.P. Mr. Catfish, you are missed. I left his lid off the tank and he jumps out and died since the sun dehydrated him while I was away at school. That is not a domesticated animal, man. That was never something you should have been trying to tame. These are like holy icons of the Mississippi River. We have them to thank for the existence of the Bass Pro Pyramid. How would you feel trying to trap a piece of God in a hamster cage? I'm not gonna make a Deltarune reference here. I'm not. And not only did he kill like 10 to 20 of your previous pet fish that presumably you were also attached to, you're like, aw, he ate all of them. That means I can give all the love I had for them to him. Because, like, you know, they're all inside him in the form of body fat and later to be shit. Okay, this one is emblematic of a lot of stories I was reading in the comments. Not necessarily a goldfish, but our fish kept disappearing from the tank a while back. Turns out our cats would jump up on the lid of the tank, stick their paws in the one opening in the back, scoop out a fish, and then eat it. This is why you need to keep pets that are vulnerable to cats, especially if you choose to have them at the same time, in a room with a door, and make it so that you always close that door. That should be muscle memory whenever you leave that room. It's part of like why, as much as I think it would be cool to have a bird, I do not want to get one as long as I have smoke. I would need like a big ass house in a completely segregated room for that bird that I never let the cat inside of. I don't care if they would be friends. I'm not giving them the chance. And you have my sympathies here because cats are smarter than we give them credit for. You had the lid on top of the fish tank. The one opening in the back should have been a pain to get to, but still that cat found a way because he had a will. Little late, but we had a fish die because my brother fed it bologna and cheese sandwich. Honestly, one of the funnier things you could have tried to feed a fish that ended up killing it. We have a goldfish that we got from the local fair nearly 4 years ago that's surprisingly still alive. I hope you don't have the same predicament as the first guy who found out that it's only alive because it died the first day it got replaced before you noticed. You hadn't spent enough time staring at that fish to memorize every crevice of its gills to know that something else had taken its place. Not mine, but a relative of mine's entire fish tank was completely killed because someone dumped an entire container of Kool-Aid in the water. Awesome stuff, man. You know what? I think we have time for one more gut-wrenching post. Put this in the goldfish post. I mean, you asked for it, man. So I don't know what killed Mr. Sharky, but one day he wasn't there. So I asked my diabolical mother what happened, and she told me he got chicken pox and was at the vet. Yeah, you know, from frequent contact with chickens, of course. My dumbass believed her. I waited a while before asking where he was again, and she told me he ran away. So you're telling me he got chicken pox, went to the vet, then ran away from the vet? I was a dumbass toddler, so of course I believed my mom when she said my fish ran away. I cried, R.I.P. Mr. Sharky. That's my thing. I think you should just let your kids know that the fish fucking died, because they're gonna feel grief in one way or another, because something that was there no longer is, and when they eventually find out, either by you telling them, or somebody else in their life who knows better telling them, or they just figure it on their own, like, wait a second, fish can't run. They're gonna feel betrayal from you, because you lied to them. Doesn't matter that you were trying to spare their emotions, because it still felt terrible at the time. They didn't get spared any emotion, just from feeling what they really should have been. Anyways, that's all I got. That kwytebox emails are in the description if you guys want to send me any video topics. The next one of these we do is still gonna be that Chihuahuas one, and I already have all the posts for that, so you don't need to submit anything. I probably won't look at it. Anyways, piss off.